Who is Brendan and what does his story have to do with the rest of the season finale? Doesn't seem to tie in very much at the moment, does it? Well, I've got a few different theories that we can talk about in this video. Hi, I'm Phil, welcome to my channel where I talk about all the geeky pop culture I like, including Doctor Who, and we're going to be discussing, what the hell is discussing today the last episode, and specifically those random little side bits that we got about the life of seemingly an Irish guy called Brendan, that didn't really seem to have anything to do with the rest of what was going on in that Cyberman-based episode. So, what's going on? Okay, first of all, some housekeeping. Yes, in my review of the video, I posited one particular theory and my basis of that theory was, well, he's a member of something called the Guard. That sounds like, they're not calling themselves the police. Maybe that's something science fiction-y, otherworldly. Maybe they're not on Earth. Well, that's still a possibility, but I have been corrected many times in my comment section that the Guard is apparently a name, or the Gardae or something like that, is apparently what the police are called in Ireland. And, they had Irish accents and it did feel very turn of the century, early 1900s Ireland, so guess they were in Ireland? Or were they? Because my first possibility that I want to broach with you all today is that this is still the Lone Cyberman. This works most thematically in the episode itself. We had an episode about the Cyberman. The Lone Cyberman was a key part of that. If this character does not tie in to the rest, at least something in the rest of the episode, it kind of feels a bit strange. So thematically, it would kind of make sense, and it might be what you would expect from this episode, to have these flashbacks relating to one of the characters that's in it, and the prime candidate for that is the Lone Cyberman. I'm intrigued about his past, especially when he was talking about slitting his own children's throats in the previous episode. I want to know a bit more about his backstory, so kind of feels like this is the natural place for it. I spent most of the episode thinking that we were seeing an early Mondas before Cyber Process, and I think that's still a possibility. Mondas was a twin planet of Earth, and, as we've seen in various media, it has a somewhat similar evolution and somewhat similar systems develop, although slightly different as well, but there's not a complete impossibility that they may develop a nation very similar in aesthetics and language to Ireland, and maybe use some of the same words. Maybe that is a possibility, and therefore maybe I'm still clinging to this slightly just to redeem some credibility from my last theory in the review, that maybe this is pre-Cybermen Mondas, and what we're seeing here is the origin of the Cyberman, and the Lone Cyberman was one of the very first Cybermen. Maybe. It would at least add an element of grounding and emotional arc to the Lone Cyberman story. Or are we seeing the origins of Gallifreyan society? Gallifrey sounds slightly Irish, doesn't it? In fact, several jokes have been made about that in the past history in previous episodes.
Where did you learn to draw?
Gallifrey.
Is that in Ireland?
Yes, it must be, yes.
You're not Irish.
But maybe there's an in-universe reason for that. Maybe the whole of Gallifrey is descended from the people of Ireland. Brandon is the first one. There's certainly something special about him. He was shot and fell off a cliff and survived in a kind of very Jack Harkness-esque way. So maybe his natural occurring abilities have somehow got something to do with how the Time Lords develop their regenerating powers. Their powers of regeneration. We also see his adopted dad and his boss at the police station, who seemingly haven't aged while he has, take him at the end and subject him to some kind of torture. Maybe they're siphoning off his immortality for experiments to create regeneration. Or here's another theory for you. What if He, Brendan, is the thing that Jack refers to the Alliance having sent back in time. We spent most of the previous Mary Shelley episode under the assumption that the Cyberium was the thing that the Alliance had sent back, that Jack had referred to in the Judgment of the Judoon. You know, we'd heard about that then, we'd seen the lone Cyberman in this episode, and there was this thing that had been sent back in time. It made sense. But what if that was all just a big red herring, designed to throw us off the scent of the real thing that the Alliance sent back, which was Brendan? He was found abandoned as a baby. He has some kind of special abilities, at least to be able to not die when he's shot and falls off a cliff. So, you know, there's something special about him. What if he is some kind of weapon that needed time to grow and develop naturally, some kind of organic biological weapon that the Jack and the Alliance thought the Doctor could use against the Cyberman in the future, or the Alliance planned to use in the future, but they needed that time to nurture, so they sent him back in time, and also away from the Cybermen, in order to develop without the threat of the Cybermen there. And such could he come into play in the next episode, when the Cybermen need defeating. Or is he perhaps the Timeless Child, or one of them, because of course the next episode is called The Timeless Children, implying there's more than one. This one doesn't actually have to contradict necessarily with one of the earlier theories where I said that he might be the origin of Gallifreyan society. In fact, it could tie in absolutely remotely. He is timeless, he was a child. Could he be one of the Timeless Children that is then used to create regeneration? We know the Timeless Child is about the origins of Gallifreyan society. That's all kind of fits together quite nicely. And my final thing is that this is all just a simulation, and it's maybe, and there could be several options for this. This could be some kind of cyber simulation, this could be something to do with Time Lords, we don't know, but I'm just saying maybe some kind of simulation. There were lots of imagery in the thing that in the flashbacks to this period that made me think this might be the case. You had some lovely TARDIS looking doors in the background there, which makes me think maybe it's the Doctor that's in the simulation. Or we also have the clock, which seemed to have a very significant symbolism. And then there's the fact that some things just didn't make sense in terms of time flowing, like why did the dad and the person, the other policeman, not age while he did? Lots of things just didn't make sense. Maybe it's just a simulation. So there you go, that's 5 options for what I thought might be the outcome of Who is Brendan? Who is Brendan? What do you think? Have you got any other theories? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts on these ones as well. Presumably we only have to wait a few more days to find out, but who knows, this might be something that carries over to next season. We might not find our answers this week. I hope we do, though. I hope we do. Let me know in the comments below what your theories are, and I'll be back for more Doctor Who videos soon. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that bell button and all that jazz, and I'll see you soon. Bye.